Are you that person who just wants to be yourself and you're trying to find your own way? That's our definition of being a renegade. Welcome to today's Antidote. I'm Bob, that's Tom, and in a minute, we're going to discuss the one true measure. But first, are you at a crossroads and uncertain about what to do next? Join our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. The link is provided in the comments. It's free. Hope to see you there real soon. Okay, Tom, got that out of the way. Shoo! Quick and tight. It's getting better.
That was good. That was good.
I like it. It doesn't feel natural yet, but we're getting there.
It'll come.
So we are starting to talk about measuring. We started yesterday. We had talked about consistency last week, and we started measuring this week. And you and I were talking yesterday, and we realized that there are all these things that we measure to determine our effort. But there's only one true measure when the day comes to an end. Would you like to share what that is, Tom?
Yeah, I think it's happy with what you're doing. You know, what is your overall life, which includes your work, your personal, your home, your relationships, all of that. Is it where you want it to be? And, where do you think that's at? Because I think that ultimately is going to drive. If you're not happy, likely in one spot, it's going to be hard to be happy in another, or it's going to at least have an impact on it.
I can certainly attest that when my health was not great, my other aspects were not great as well. They fall into each other. When my marriage wasn't perfect, I know no marriage is perfect, but when my marriage was struggling, other things struggled. And the other thing I think is when professionally I had trouble, everything else suffered. I think it's sort of like eating ice cream. If you like ice cream and it tastes really good, it's great. If you have all the things that make it possible to have ice cream, but if you're eating ice cream in the dead of winter in your car because you just got to have ice cream doesn't feel that good. Ice cream's a summer thing, right? You want to get that full. No,
ice cream is good anytime. Sorry,
well,
Bob.
You're from the middle of nowhere in New York, so it's always cold up there. So
correct.
This isn't working for you. So I see what happened here.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things we want to get across here is that, one, you can be happy. Everyone has the capacity to be happy. And I think that for many people is a startling possibility. I know at times for me, that has been very difficult for me to accept. It's like, no, I'm stuck doing these things because I have a mortgage, because I blah, 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 blah. I tell myself a story that is, I can't be happy. But then when I come out of that and say, hey, I can be happy. I can shift this a little bit. I can shift that a little bit. We all have choice every day. Everything's a choice. I don't care what job you're at, whether you work for yourself and you hate your boss because you're your boss, or you work for someone else and you love your boss. You have a choice every day. And if you go, well, I can't leave my job because, that's really a story you're telling yourself.
Right. I would agree. I mean, you're making the choice that's what it is. I think it's okay to choose to be happy, but I think at some point too, you have to just be happy and enjoying what you're doing. It's if you every day have to get up and be like, I'm choosing to be happy.
Right.
That means there's something else going on. And there's something you need to take a look at to figure out what's the thing that's not right at the moment that is causing me to have to make that. And that's okay. I mean, I think it's all right to have days. We all have days when we get up and we're like, yeah, as much as I love my job, I'd love to go do something else. I'd love to have the ability to just do that. Unfortunately, sometimes you can. But a lot of times it's just like, this is what I have to do for the moment. And I move through
it. And I can hear people saying, well, it's easier for you guys because you're killing it and blah, blah, blah. There's always an excuse. Everyone's life always looks better. But I will tell you, Tom, one of the things I know about being around people who are happy is it becomes infectious. There is no question in my mind some of the recent success I've been having is because of my association with you every morning. There's no doubt in my mind. You are a positive, upbeat, happy person. Even in my darkest day, you were like, hey, okay, but what's the good thing here? And also having that sounding board to just say, Tom, I don't know what the heck I'm doing with this thing. Help me figure it out. Not solve it for me, but ask me the questions. And I think that's part of happiness. I think the other thing about happiness and measuring it is most people think of it as an either or. You're either happy or you're not. Right. And I think it's a continuum. I'm very happy at some parts of the day, and other parts of the day, if I've got to do my bookkeeping, I'm not real happy about that. If I'm writing the language for a contract, that's not the most joy-fulfilling moment of my life. However, I know getting the contract signed, having the right language in it, leads to the opportunity to speak, to present a workshop, to do the things that I really enjoy. So it is the part that gets me to the things I like. And that's how I remind myself that, hey, the measure of this is the overall thing. I love being in front of groups. So yeah, you got a contract, you got to give them your EIN number, you've got to go through the banking headaches, you've got to get the lawyer to look at the contract and send it back with red lines. That's just like any author who writes a book, because I've done it. You write a book, the worst part of the book is when the editor sends back all the things you have to fix.
Right.
I know of no author who likes that. But every author I've talked to loves seeing that book when it's out. That's the hard work. Right. And I think, look at athletes. They work really hard to keep their body physically fit to be successful. That's the hard work. That's the part that we don't see the football players right now, when they're not even sure if they'll have a season, are doing the training in the heat so they can be ready. Probably not the happiest moment. I think they'd probably be happier when the fans are applauding for a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think that's the thing, is that we all have different things that we enjoy to do. And so some athletes I know, they love training, love it. Sometimes they enjoy that more than being out on the field.
That's messed up.
Yeah, well, we all have our own things. And I think that's what we have to find as well, is that, how do we find ways to do more of the things that we love, and understand that maybe we have to find others who are really good at those other things, so that those things don't drag us down. You hope that at some point you're at the point where, yeah, I'm not writing a contract, so I'm sending it to my lawyer and say, I just need you to do this, because that's not what I'm good at. And the more I have to do that, the less happy I am at what I'm doing. Or if it's, bookkeeping. If you love bookkeeping, but you hate, like, oh my God, how am I going to go out and find clients? Well, maybe the answer is yes, you need to do some of it and understand it, but you might need to find others to do those things that you don't like. So what you truly love, you get up excited every day to go in and do this. And I think those are the challenges, is that we feel like there's no other way. Especially solopreneurs or leaders or whatever, people who are kind of doing something by themselves, don't have a huge team around them. And even if they do, they don't have peers that they can have discussions with. They feel like there's no other way to do this. This is it. Because they don't see what others see, is that there are opportunities to do it differently. Again, it goes back to, I know we talked about this the other day or last week, is we only know what we know. And so if I know that I'm in this business by myself, I don't have any other employees, I don't have any other staff, I have to do everything. And there's some of those things I don't like, which then drives your overall happiness down. If I know that I have to get up and one of the things I have to do is do my taxes, or do my, weekly balancing of my books and figure out where I am, I'm not as excited about going to work.
Wait, you do it every week?
No, that was an example. Sorry.
I was going to say, I do it twice a year if I'm lucky. We're right about that time, right? July 1st. We're going to reconcile the first 6 months.
Yeah. So I think it's just one of those things, is that the biggest challenge is we sit there and feel like this is the only way to do it because it's the only way I know. And so you become stuck and overwhelmed, and now you start being unhappy, and you're like, why did I do this? And I think sometimes we just need to find those ways to be around other people who know other ways to do it and talk to them about, how do you do that? How do you manage it? How do you pay for an accountant? How do you pay for a lawyer? And this is the way I do it. So that we have an understanding of, there is something out there that's different. There is another option that allows us to then become more happy.
The other thing that strikes me, Tom, just let me throw this out there and see what you think, is that we assume that there's this place called happy where everything is just rainbows and candy bars.
Unicorn.
And I've never seen that ever in my life. I've seen moments of happiness, hours, maybe even days of happiness, but everything comes to an end. Every time I've gone on a great vacation, I've known at some point it's going to come to the end and I have to come back to it. And I think we get fixated on this idea of complete happiness 24/7, when really it's finding happiness in the moments. And if we can find the happiness in the moment, now the measuring stick is very different, because you can say, wow, today I had 27 segments of happiness. I think that's the true measure to me. I've never had a day where it's like, oh, it's awesome from the moment you get up and the toothpaste tastes better than it ever tasted. And, the eggs didn't crack and everything's just, it's not Willy Wonka. It just isn't. It's not, even at Disney. I've talked to people who go to Disney and they're like, even at Disney, you might be in the line. It might be really hot. You might have forgotten your suntan lotion. I know you love Disney, but it's not perfect for 5 or 7 days. You might get sunburned. They don't control the sun yet, to my knowledge, Tom. I've never been to a Disney place, so I can't speak to it as well as you can.
What?
I've actually gone up to the gate 3 times at a Disney facility and never gone inside.
It's the happiest place on earth.
So they say.
No, that's a fact. No.
I've never been there, so I don't know it to be true. But you should get, if we got a TV show and you did these pitches for them, you get free stuff from them. See, that would make you really happy, right?
Make me super happy.
Tom, I see we have a comment. You have to delegate to other people. The more I listen to agency owners, podcasts, you two, and this group, and the more I relinquish tasks, the happier I am and the more business I can generate. Who's that from? Do you know?
It's from Jessica.
Ah, very nice. Okay. I had lunch with Jessica last week. We were talking about her company is just like taking off.
Well, I think she's done some smart things. She's realized that there's other ways to do it that allows you to not be unhappy doing the things you don't, and it's not even that you're not good at, you just don't understand it as well. So why do it if you can't? I mean, obviously you have to get to a point where you're able to do that, but then you can move forward and you can, again, focus on those things that either grow your business, if that makes you happy, or just makes you happy in the results that you get, or both.
Or you could build a business that is wrapped around the things you really like to do as much as possible. So take mine. I was teaching college. There were parts of it I liked. I loved the one-on-one interaction with the students. I loved being in front of the class and teaching. And I loved the speaking opportunities that I got. So guess what? I built a company that focuses on those 3 things. And people are like, how did you do that? It's like, I knew what I wanted. I knew what I liked. And some of the other taxes, I have someone else do because it's worth it to me to invest that money. I like Jean's comment. What? I can fix that? I think she's talking about whether she can be happy or not. That's funny.
No. She's talking about getting you to Disney. That's what she's talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm
sorry. I totally dropped the ball there.
Lord.
Good luck with that, Jean. There are 2 things I can doubt I will ever do: go to Disney and go on a cruise. I have no desire to do either of those.
We're going to change the Disney thing. Anyhow, one of the things,
and I'm not that big a fan of going to Europe either. I don't like to go across oceans. I think there's a reason why oceans are there. What's that?
You don't have to go across an ocean to go to Disney.
Indeed.
One of the things I was thinking about was, you didn't get to that point about your business right away.
No.
And I think,
about 13 jobs and one other business.
And I think that's sometimes what happens is that we get stuck in the unhappy and think that that's the only way. That I don't know any difference. I'm going to stay in this job. I'm going to have this business that I don't really like. I'm going to do this work that I'm not happy with and feel like this is all there is. Maybe I'll get a promotion. Maybe I'll get a raise. Maybe I'll do whatever. And I think today's world is allowing it, and it's almost, as much as I never thought I liked sort of not job hopping, but changing opportunities. So you learn new things, and all of those things together sometimes help you figure out, a little bit further down the road, what are those pieces you do love to do? What are those pieces that do get you excited? And then how do you find opportunities to do that throughout your life that makes a difference? For you and I, it's about helping people figure out how to be better at their business. For others, for Jessica, it's about building great websites and the design aspects of building those things. For Gene, it's putting people on travel so they can go out and have a great, experience. And I think when we figure out—
That was well done, by the way. That was beautiful. Yeah, that was. I had a cringe moment like, is he going to get this right? But your people.
That's my job. That's what I love. I spent 25 years. The best part about my job in higher ed was I got to meet people all the time who were doing different things, unique things. I loved the conversation, learning about people, and then figuring out how do I keep them connected to the organization that I was a part of. So that's a big part of what I enjoy
Bravo,
doing.
Tom. Is that from Gene?
That's from Gene.
And we also have a comment. Bob, Europe is a no. You are crazy. Well, that's never really been a question. Well, I think I showcase that every day at this hour.
Correct. Which is good. You like that. That brings you happiness.
What's that? The crazy?
And you're a little crazy. There's nothing wrong with that. That's good.
I don't know if I'm a little crazy. I just try to make this not be boring. We could get boring, Tom.
Are you saying I'm boring? I think he's saying I'm boring.
I'm not saying that out loud. Now I've brought him extra happiness. So, absolutely. Tom, let's get to the point of this. We're talking about measuring that one true measure. Gene said I wasn't interested in Europe until I started sending clients there. Now the bucket list for travel grows. Gene, my wife went to Paris about 2 years ago and still talks about it and wants to go back. So Paris might be in my future. Who knows? Tom, what's the one thing that we can do in this whole measuring this one important thing in life, the true measure and all that good stuff? I sound like Jack Canfield now.
Sure. I think it's that we need to consistently measure how happy we are with what we're doing. And it can be focused on business. It can be personal. It can be whatever you want it to be. But take that. You deserve the right to be happy and to find and do the things you love to do. And so if you feel like you're just super stuck in it, know that there might be another way.
I would agree with all of that. That took me a long time to figure out. I would add to that ask the people around you, because sometimes we kid ourselves about what happy is. And it's funny, my true friends really understand what makes me happy. Just like that being a little crazy on this program is part of who and what I am. That helps. And sometimes I think we lose happy, or even the concept of happy, because we get so embedded in our obligations. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. Whereas the people that are entrepreneurial ultimately find their way. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who don't accept the limit of, I have a mortgage, I have a car payment, I have to pay my student loan, the kids, I can do it after the kids get finished college. I could do that on and on and on. I can talk you out of any possibility that you give me. But what I tend to do for my clients and other people I talk to is say, okay, great. What would that look like? What? You want to go to Paris in October? What would that look like? Well, I'd have to put money away this summer. We might not go on vacation. I'd have to work overtime. Okay, are you willing to do those things? Yeah. Would it bring you happiness? Yes. How can you remind yourself of what you're working towards? Oh, I can put a picture of Paris up on my wall, and every morning I see it. Beautiful. And then they achieve that thing. they get the happiness, and it starts them being more happy. And you do the same thing with people. There's no magic formula that I'm doing. I'm just helping people identify what it is that would bring them happiness and how they can get there in a way that most of the time, I certainly can't do it myself. I need people around me to support that.
That's fair. I agree.
I thought you were going to say something more profound, but I guess there's nowhere to go. So, Tom, this is where I do my plugs. Ring of Renegades, a group for you if you want to start this journey towards finding happiness. We've got people in that group who are gathering information, resources, just really talking about what it is to be successful, whatever that looks like to them, what it is to be happy in business. That's the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. It's free. You can join at any time. We'd love to see you in there. We've got amazing people in there. I'm amazed at the growing list of people we have in there. And then if you want to up your game to the next level, this is the Renegade Wayfinders, and you can go to renegadewayfinders.com. There, you will see how you can really take decisive, aggressive action to actually achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. If you have a stumbling block, this is the place where we're going to help you. We're going to guide you towards actually doing it. No more talk, time to do it. We have someone in there who's an author and has already committed to getting an outline for his book done by, I forget, when was that, Tom? By
August 31st.
August 31st. We have another person in that group who is doing a really innovative way around youth sports facilities, and he is killing it. And we have a travel agent whose name might have come up today, who is achieving things that I'm not sure she ever thought was possible more easily. And she was exhausted last week, but exhausted in a good way, right? If
Correct.
You want to take decisive action and really get on the track to finding happiness, to really having whatever success looks like to you, the Renegade Wayfinders is that place, renegadewayfinders.com. Whew, Tom, with that, it's time to close the book on today's episode. This has been great. I love this discussion. This is actually, if I had to pick one discussion we've had, this would be in the top 69, 70. See how I did that?
I did. Nice. Good effort.
No, it'd actually be in the top 3. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you again tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Eastern
Eastern time.